RSP Society Speak podcast show. Today, we're going to be talking about education. It's inspired by this Dubai Cares initiative with RewirED, which the purpose is to catalyze a global conversation on how education and learning needs to be reshaped in the future. As our host today, we have a full, complete set of our hosts of three. So me, Abu, we got Abdur and Malik. And for this episode, our special guest is Pirzada, or how like we like to call him, Pizu, in IB2, and then Kyra, who is in year 8. She is our first non-IB guest of this podcast, hoping to get a lot more throughout this term and the next term. So let's just get straight into it. I first like to ask Kyra, what do you think the importance of education is?
I feel that it provides person an understanding of their future and their career. So whether if I just do school and then later on shift on music, I feel like it will still provide me a career after it, whether it's starting a business. It's an all-rounder thing, and every child deserves an education. Whatever they want to do, sports, athletics, or different careers in life, it always gives you a base and helps you, whatever you want to do.
I agree. Pizza, you want to add on to that?
Yeah, sure. So education to me shows us the importance of hard work, and at the same time, it helps us grow and develop by abiding a lot of rules, regulations, and how it also shapes us and to live in a better society and how we can change and control situations with the tools which we're given through education.
For sure. And speaking of change, I think the biggest change over the past year has been caused by coronavirus, if you've forgotten. So, Malik, how do you think schooling has changed because of corona? How has it forced us to change?
It's quite different, let's be honest. Like every aspect of school is different, from the way we get ready to go to school. Like if we go to school, we can't forget our mask, and if you break one, you got to get a new one. All these new struggles, and I feel like it's quite impactful on younger kids because everyone wants to run around, be with their friends, and you can't really do that now. So I feel like there is quite a large change, but it's something we just have to deal with for now, though. So
yeah.
Miss the days when the teacher would say, "Oh yeah, discuss in your groups while sitting on a table of 4." You don't have that anymore. It's not as nice, but oh well, it's fine. It's for health.
Yeah. One of the big, important parts of schooling is the social part of it, and then it seems like there's been a restriction on that. And I kind of forget how it seems to be sitting in a class with 3 people in the same desk. Yeah.
Yeah. You really got to feel that over lockdown. One of the most important parts of school is the social part, and that's what you really miss. It's not the same speaking to people with half their face covered at 2 meters apart. Just doesn't have the same feeling.
Yeah. And Pizu, you had to make this transfer from IB1 to IB2 in the middle of your IB course in your case IBCP course, right?
Yeah.
So how has it affected you in that?
So in IBCP, there's a lot. We do basically 144 pieces of coursework over 2 years. So there's a lot of writing which requires a constant communication with the teacher. It was really difficult, to communicate with the teachers online because as abroad and we had different time zones, not specifically me, but from other students as well. And we used to have these internet issues where I used to struggle to communicate with my teachers, which did put me on a bit of a setback for my work. But then as I came back to school, face-to-face learning, that was quite beneficial for me, as that made me progress a lot better than online learning.
Yeah. And Kyra, you are, of course, the only student here who's from the middle years. You made this change from year 7 to 8. So how has this change been for you?
Well, with the new norm of the masks and all this, I feel like it got a little hard with the teachers having the online students a different class and the face-to-face learners. It kind of gets hard for both of the classes to be handled at the same time. And then at times, like the events that we had in year 7, like the interhouse and the fundraising, the big sale for the, I think for the pink cancer and things like that, that also has really affected, because in year 8 we had a lot of events planned out, like inter-house events, and that also kind of brought change and trips around for the football teams. That I feel like year 8 is kind of similar to year 7, but a lot of things have been cut down. So yeah, I'd like to have them as well back.
Yeah, and year 7, you started, you've just entered the senior school, so all of these events are new. The sports, how the house system is at Repton is more prevalent than in the junior school. There's more of a house feeling. So yeah, it must be tough for us. We've been through it for years now, so of course we miss life. Well, at least I miss it to a certain extent, but we've had the experience. And for you, I think, in people in your situation, it's a bit tough to kind of lose that. Um, and Pizu also, we were talking just before this about our cricket. And
Exactly. So
last
as
year,
a lot of you might not know, so I've been like in senior school since year 7, and I've played a lot of cricket here and representing school and house cricket as well. And it is quite devastating, as due to COVID, all of the sports fixtures have been cancelled. So I was expecting to at least play one of my finals game in Repton and make more memories out of it. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Because of COVID, we cannot do that.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of events, like even this podcast, we could do this in person if it wasn't for this whole Corona thing. But unfortunately, it's over Zoom, which is fine. Even the student council that I know, Kyra, you're a part of now, all our meetings and stuff will have to be over Zoom rather than in a classroom as they usually would be. I don't feel like it has that same, impact or kind of unity that it's meant to have when it's over Zoom. But I guess it's how it is.
Yeah.
Especially debate competitions as well, as when we're there face to face, there is more of a cohesive communication happening. But as it is online, it does get a bit of disrupted, and you do not get the same intensity of the debate while it is face to face compared to online. So I think due to COVID, a lot of these activities, academic and sports, have been neglected at some point, I would say.
So we talked about the negative parts, the setbacks that COVID has caused. But Malik, do you see any positives out of Corona in terms of education and?
It depends. I guess because you aren't necessarily allowed to interact with your friends as much as school, you're gonna be bound to try harder, to focus on actual school and schoolwork. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but now because there's not much to do while you're in school, during your free, at least in IB, you might go talk to your friends or something, but because you can't sit close to certain people and stuff like that, you're gonna be more likely to do your work and do better in school. So I mean, it does have its positives, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah.
Even online learning, people now, you take a day off, you still have access to everything. So I guess that part of it is good. You can go back and revisit the PowerPoints, whereas you couldn't do that before when they were only showing up on the board.
Yeah. Now, I feel the biggest thing is that now the school is using a lot more tech, which I think is a good thing. I think I think the trend was that more of learning was to be based on tech. And I think Corona had just quickened the process. As you were saying, we have access to everything at every moment. But, I don't even remember how I would have studied without having access to the PowerPoint that the teacher makes. I think last year or previous years, we would have to make it during class. But I feel like this year, I'm able to engage more in the class, knowing that if I forget something or forget to note something, I can always go back to it.
Really, I prefer it the other way. How in class there and then you focus there, understand everything, and kind of don't have to feel the pressure of, oh yeah, and now I need to go home and double check that I've got everything written down. You know that in class you focus, got everything down. Plus, I feel like in class people can be lazy. They can just search things up or quickly check the PowerPoint rather than actually trying to remember things and give proper answers.
But it depends though, because the PowerPoints can be used as like revision material that would be like hard to come across. Like whenever like you revise for like a test at the end of the year, if you didn't make good notes sometimes, for example, or like let's say even if you didn't make good notes, it's always just good to have extra. Like that's never gonna hurt you. So I mean, they're good in like the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Just speaking upon the revision, like as an IB2 right now, as we were doing a bit of revision in for a drama. So a lot of us take some different interpretations of the text in teams, which just kind of misguides us in some way. So I think it's kind of really essential for us in our crucial year to have teachers with us, so they can guide us through any confusions which we have.
Yeah. In Kyra, how do you think, do you see the increased use of tech, which Corona has forced us to do? Do you think it benefited you or the students in your years?
I feel that sometimes when we had like a lot of questions towards the work or needed some extra material, I feel it's better to contact and communicate with the teacher this time. Like we could email through Outlook or just message on the Teams and help other students who have the questions too. So the benefits are there. And as for revision, there are so many materials and files that can easily access, create your own revision material. And I feel it's way better now. But and online assemblies, at least everyone can access, go at their own pace, and people can work at their pace this time. Like if they were finding it easy or harder, there's always another challenge for you to go through. So I feel like there are pros and cons at the same time of doing online learning as well.
Kyra, do you use your school email? Do you check it regularly? And
yeah, I check it regularly, like at least once in a day.
did you use it last year too? When you were in year 7?
At the beginning of online learning, I didn't even know about Outlook, but then as it processed, then I got to know about it.
Yeah, because I was thinking the same thing. Because in year 8, I definitely did not know I had a school account. I barely email. If I don't remember, I probably had one. But I barely used it.
I think we only got them in year 9 or one of the two.
Never used it ever.
Yeah, right.
Well, I forgot the ICT password and everything. Had to get it all reset again.
Yeah, we couldn't even remember our login passwords. And now I think because of Corona, year 7, people in year 7, people in year 8, like Kyra, they know how to use email now, which is, of course, it's not highly skilled, but it's a skill you need to learn. And I
guess it makes you more like tech savvy. You kind of know what you're doing now.
Yeah.
To be honest, like when I came in IB1, I'll be quite honest about that. I didn't use laptop before I came in IB1. So I was like learning, like using frequently my laptop in IB1. But then when COVID hit us, like when we went in quarantine, my IT skills really skyrocketed. So that was one of the advantages of COVID, I'd say, which really helped me in some way.
And for us, like we didn't bring our laptops in year 11. And now year 7s have to bring it every day.
Only very few people used to bring them in. I only brought mine in if I had like a project or something to do, like a presentation. Other than that, I never used it. Everything was written down in my books as like normal.
Yeah. So I think there's positive and negatives of both of those. Now about the content of what we're learning, do you guys think looking in the future, I know it might be a couple of steps forward, but do you think we're learning the right skills? Because we always hear, well, at least I always hear, well, these are the top skills in demand for your jobs in this 2030, whatever. So do you think, especially I think Pizu graduating this year, going to uni, do you think school, just generally, not specifically Repton, but just schooling in general, has given you the skills that are important?
I mean, when we look at skills, there's so many sets of skills which actually are needed in the world. So I'll focus on interpersonal skills, and I find them quite essential in the world and how we use them. But in school, how it helped me. So in IBCP, we had this one work week experience. So we had to do 1 week of work experience in Axiom Telecom in one of the businesses. In that, we presented, we did public speaking, and we did a lot of research. And I think a lot of those skills came from school, and that completely developed a lot in that work experience. So definitely school does play quite an essential role in that.
I feel like a lot of it's down to the individual. Like, I definitely think school does help, like, nourish certain traits or things that you wouldn't get on your own. At the same time, I feel like there are certain like attributes that I may possess that others don't, and at the same time others have that I don't. It's down to like the individual, I think, that will set you up for your future.
Yeah, but school is good in a way. Like the whole Corona thing, if you think about it, it's helped everyone find a new skill, or at least most people. Like because there was so much time during quarantine, everyone was at least able to like develop themselves a new skill or a new hobby or something. Which, if it was academic or even a sport hobby, it could help them in the future in terms of if it, let's say it was academic, they have better research skills or something like that. So like it did have its own benefit in that, right, as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
What specifically do you guys feel there's a certain skill which you've heard about that school hasn't been, letting you practice or at least teach you? Do you have that feeling?
I'd say yes, because you see, when the question to power the when you ask questions, that's my opinion of like that's the best you learn, and but through class discussions. And we do not have a lot of class discussions in IB, as in especially in my class, not a lot of them. So I think that is the school needs to focus a lot more on that, which will be good for a lot of us, because we can explore and we can come across a lot of different opinions, a lot of different and diverse ideas, which can help us brainstorm a lot of different things.
Yeah. Kyra, do you think you guys have enough or plenty of class discussions in your classes?
I feel that during the online learning we have like polls and things that gathers people disrupt like in decisions and what they feel about it. But I feel that last year we had less class discussions. It felt more of the teacher teaching us. But now during the time the teachers want to know more about the students and want to communicate more because we are like not face to face learning much, and some are doing online. So I feel there's an increase in class discussion in getting people's thoughts on things, and that's a pretty good thing, as you get more views on how the work is and how you feel. Like some class discussions we have is on world, like current affairs, world affairs. So that's pretty good, like the U.S. election or that previously happened and other things. So that's good about it.
Yeah, I think it's good that young people are discussing those. Well, we're young too, but even younger than us are discussing
Yeah,
these discussions.
that's why the IB is very good. Like in as an example, in subjects like English right now, what we're discussing current affairs, which like compared to last year, we'll just be analyzing text and stuff. It's kind of standard. This you open your mind and actually look at so many things that are happening around the world and give your opinion on them, which I personally really enjoy doing.
I think that's like the special part of IB though. Like IB allows you to express yourself in ways that you like necessarily, not that you can't do it in younger years, but you can just take it to the next level. Like all the essays that we write, extended essay allows you to have your own individual approach to
Yeah.
anything that you want to do in that subject itself.
Yeah, and I think well, at least I've seen the shift from GCSE to IB. There's a lot more personal freedom. Like there's more chances to, as Malik was saying, add your personal touch to whether it's an essay or it's a talk that you have to give. Um, I feel that there's been that change, and I think it's a good change.
We also, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Pizu.
I want to say a lot of case studies which we do as well. They also help you do a lot of research and a lot of critical thinking, which is really good as well. So we can do a lot of case studies on real businesses, and then we can write about them, as an IB, Malik and Abdur mentioned.
Yeah. And as Kyra noted, I think previously, was about how I feel like teachers are making a more concerted effort to have the discussions. So how do you think the role of the teacher, or have you seen a teachers have a different approach to learning because of the circumstances we are in?
I feel like they're trying the best to handle both classes, but sometimes they do mention that they can't have the meeting online well as the student, like the teachers, other students who are there in class. They find it a bit hard as the students in class are trying to communicate with each other, even though they're in 2 meters distance, they're trying their best to talk, while the students online are like stuck and puzzled of what to do. She did like teachers do mention sometimes that they can't handle, and that's not their fault because it is a situation like this. And but still, I also like to add that there's been an increase in debates that also have happened, like the debating ECA and the more importance towards it. I remember a recent debate that I had in my class, that who was the first person to go on the moon? Was it Neil Armstrong or his photographer? Because when he went on the moon, there was a photograph taken of him. So there was a debate whether it was him on the moon first or the photographer, because it sometimes from the photo angle might look at he's first. So that was pretty fun getting people's opinion on it. And it was quite a large debate as well.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like, yeah, teachers have had to adapt. Like us, they've had to adapt, I feel like. And I think different teachers handle it differently. I feel like the teachers that are more tech savvy seem to include the online uh, students more.
Yeah, you can see a couple of teachers do get a bit frustrated when it's not really working, but in fairness to them, they all do try their best, even though it is quite difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
They have become quite understanding, as I've observed in the last 2-3 weeks, and they're getting used to this, that we have to get and make these altercations about as coming in and transforming into COVID-19 and how everything is different.
Yeah.
No, but some teachers do put in like quite a lot of effort online though. Like for example, who can I give an example of? Like Mr. Prack, for example, he's a math teacher. Like if you like in my class, for example, if you're online, he'll start a Zoom call so you can actually feel included in the lesson, and then he'll share his screen and he'll do all the working out like with his iPad and stuff. So that way you can actually learn, you can learn a little more while you're there as well. It's more inclusive, I feel like.
Yeah. I think it differs from subject to subject too. I think math is relatively easy to do that kind of things, but I feel like the hardest thing is always language. I feel even
Yeah, languages is very difficult to teach online.
because you kind of have to see the teacher's mouth. You know, it's just easier to understand even when you're not online and you have to wear a mask. Yeah, but teachers, I feel like teachers are putting in a lot more effort because they kind of because of the situation, um and we can I feel like we can see teachers and their effort, and it's, well, only time will tell, but it seems like their works are effective.
I, sorry, I can speak from personal experience here. Like as an IB1 when I joined, so I chose Spanish ab inicio, and I never studied Spanish before. So and we had to do majority of a year online, and it was really difficult to do online language practice because we didn't have a teacher, and the regular lessons they were much more. We understand it, a lot of us understood a lot more in the lesson than compared to online.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. um I think time seems to be running out a bit. So just to end it, I'd like to ask everyone, in the future, how do you see school changing? Do you think, 5 years down the road, you think school will be different? Forget COVID, and hopefully we'll be back to normal schooling. But regardless of COVID, do you see any changes in just
I think
schooling?
I think you if the best way for school to like advance or like education to advance in the future is if we keep up with the same level of technology that we've used now. Like even though technology is going to get way better in 5 years, we can't even imagine it. But if we try our best to implement it in school or just in our day to day, I feel like it would make school and learning a lot easier on everyone. Like even for students who necessarily can't always be in school for some form of a problem or something, I feel like students who would be at home would really like to know that they'd have a quality lesson while they're at home, though.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like even like the whole socially distance thing, mask may go away, but I don't think the usage of technology and stuff is going to go away now. I think even in 5 years' time, the new year sevens will still be coming into school with their laptops, and those who don't come into school that day will be joining a Zoom call or later, like just having access to all the PowerPoints and stuff. I think that's going to stay.
Kyra, what do you think?
I feel that maybe in the future there might be a better platform than Teams and all sorts of new artificial intelligence technology. And maybe even though like if you're doing school at home or maybe at school, you never know where you can like have an online digital 3D platform where you can literally interact with the teacher like they're actually there. There's limited like endless options of what will happen in the future. It just depends. But I feel like schooling will be more advanced. Maybe like teachers could like train you and train you as you're having a jobs, like train you to have jobs. So like such as when you finish school and when you finish college, you can straight away just go apply for jobs because the education they're giving you might be so well mattered or well planned that it could literally plan your future for you. It might be really well. It's just up to what will happen next. And hopefully no mask, no nothing in the future. That will also affect it. Yeah.
I think obviously technology will be advanced as we go past the years, but I think school can also be advanced through a lot of different subjects, or probably a lot of additional subjects, like such as more languages. And there's this one subject on Repton Exchange when I went to UK. We had this government and politics and religious studies and social studies, which is really different to what we study here. So I think a lot of different and more subjects can also advance the school and how people interpret things and how it can change the style of studying as well, and how we think.
Yeah, I agree. I think very interesting insights there. So yeah, I think that's the end of this episode. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for our special guests Kyra and Pizu for taking the time out of the day to help record this and make this. See you guys next episode, which will be in 2 weeks' time. Thank you, everyone.
Sure. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good day.